Welcome to Mission Magic. I'm Lucy Macara, host of the Mission Magic Women's Group, founder of Rethink Press and Book Magic AI. In the Mission Magic sessions, I talk to mission-led women about their brilliant new ideas, concepts, and visions. Today, we're talking to Paula B. Groves. Paula is an award-winning North London-based artist with over 40 years of experience. Her award-winning sustainable steel sculptures have been showcased at the Chelsea Flower Show, featured on the BBC, and been unveiled by no less than Her Majesty the Queen, the previous Queen, I should say. In 2020, Paula launched Me Infinity as a creative research response to climate change. Following her ADHD diagnosis in 2022, the project expanded the huge potential to explore symbiotic collaborations between artists and AI, integrating diverse cognitive perspectives to unlock new creative pathways. So, Paula, over to you.
So, as Lucy said, I've been an artist for over 40 years. I still find that hard to believe. I started at the age of 12. And I studied interior design, and then I morphed and became a sculptor. It's a longer story that I won't go into right now. But the interesting thing is that what happened at the start of COVID, there was, for some of you have heard this before, but I'm going to just quickly recap for the others. There was 3 key events that happened at the start of 2020. And I call them earth, wind, and fire. Okay. So there was I'm going to say them in the order that they came. There was the Australian fire going on. And I just thought, what on earth can I possibly do to have an impact with that going on? As me, as one person in this bigger picture, what on earth can I do? And then there was a quote that a good friend of mine, Dorina, put on Facebook that was from a gala that Sir David Attenborough was the keynote speaker. And he put this quote down that is 26 words that I feel sums up what we need to do to have an impact on the planet. Then I went to a climate change event by Julie's Bicycle, and it had panel discussions, and in between there was art pieces, poetry, music, performances, and it was fantastic. And at the very, very end, there was a poet called Laurie Ogden, and she read 2 poems, and one of them was called The Gifts I Do Not Want to Give My Daughter. Now, that poem has stuck with me ever since and has really driven everything I've been doing for the past 5 years or so. But these 3 points were inspirations for me. So there's earth, wind, and fire. There's popular culture in what I'm doing. And so if anyone knows Earth, Wind, and Fire as the band, the rest of the story is like fantasy. It is like how we can use our imagination to have such an impact on the planet. So I was working on this project through COVID. I then got 2 coaches, a health and wellness coach and a business coach, because I wanted to move this forward. I did not know this was going to take me 5 years. I was working on this, and I was leaning into the messaging from the Sir David Attenborough quote. And his quote was, "We must learn not to be so greedy, not to waste power, not to waste food, not to waste space, and crucially, not to waste time." I probably spent the first 3 years on the first 3 words, which is we must learn. And what I've realized is that is a big problem, that our learning methods and models aren't sufficient with the speed of growth and the speed of change that we're now going through. So I have spent the time evolving the whole project and and finding a way to express what I needed to express and express myself as an artist. In the course of doing that, I developed a concept called Toolboox. These are multimedia digital documents, but they start out analog. Now, this is the thing. I have been using this concept the entire time. I've lent into it in a big, big, big way. On the visual side of it, on the how does this look, for the last year and a half. And it is just extraordinary. So there's two parts to what I'm doing with the project. There's the legacy and the legend. And the legend is the Toolboox, and the legacy piece is what we will be leaving and giving to the world. Now, oh, hang on, I've got to just press the button. Now, we are living on a day-by-day basis. And I believe if we move and shift how we do things, we are 24 hour evolvers. I've done a huge body of research on neurology and science and these different elements. And what I've come to discover is that by operating differently than the system that I was in, it's changed absolutely everything. So previously, I didn't, like at the start of the project, I was working on the project, very absorbed in it, finding different ways, finding different solutions. I ran a challenge with a group on some things like the food, the drink, the fluid, drinking more water, focus, and all these different F words I use for that, and had a brilliant impact. But it didn't change. So the poem, second from the last line on the poem, after Laurie Ogden spelt out a picture of what the world will be like if we do nothing, and just let it evolve and move and change on the way that mankind is going. The second from last line was, I did not act, I did not change, I don't know why. So that really, really stuck with me. It's like, I did not act, I did not change, I don't know why. And I felt, what will I feel like in 10 years' time when the world is in a position that I'm not happy with and I didn't do anything today? This was 5 years ago. I did not know this project was going to take me 5 years. It was a self-funded project. I've been doing it every single day. I've made one sculpture since I started this project. So my art practice completely changed. The inspiration for the Australian fires for me was a TED talk by Lorna Gassner-Otting. But the key point from that was that she said she was she worked in the administration for Bill Clinton. And she said when there was huge global problems and people, like say if people sent 50,000 teddy bears, that wasn't what people needed. She said that we don't want to say, oh my gosh, what can I do? We need to ask what I term ask better questions. And she said we need to so the question we need to ask is what needs to happen. So for this entire project, every day, that's the question I ask. And it's had such a huge impact because every single day I'm moving forward and moving and growing and evolving the project, using the art as a means of expression to move it forward. So what then happened was I then got an ADHD diagnosis, as Lucy said, 3 years ago. So what I was evolving I was trying to write a book. I was struggling to write a book because I'm a visual artist, not a word person. Then I got the ADHD diagnosis, and that was profound, and it changed everything. So what started as a climate change project then became a primate change project. So what I realized, or what I felt at the start of the project, that with both of my parents having passed away from chronic health problems, I was feeling that I was very much caught up in the genes and how the genes affect us. My research has really, really lent into the epigenetics elements of things. So this has changed everything for me. And I have developed systems for myself that work, and I am in a state of flow every single moment, every single day, and doing the best work I've ever created. I have got everything I need for my Toolboox in analog form, and I'm wanting to roll that out, and I want to get involved with a community, with people who want to trial this, with people who want to see this, and make this become something very, very special, because I feel that we're at the most critical time in human history and human evolution, because we finally are at a point where we can actually have a huge, huge impact on the world because of our personal capabilities. And then the big game changer is AI, because now this means that certain jobs and certain roles can be shifted and changed. Now, I've been working with AI for quite some time, and I've actually, my AI, I use ChatGPT. My AI is called Alan, and he actually did a piece for me that I was going out to you. But unfortunately, I'm on my phone and I won't do that. I will be sharing this. So what I want to say to you is I have got so many bits of paper and information here and things that I want to share with you. But what I'm going to do, so this is a 24-hour evolution. I have been off social media for over 3 years working on this, and I need to get back onto social media to share this message. So tomorrow, I will be doing the visuals for this to share and show on Sunday. And then I'm rolling out a money model for anyone to get on board. It starts just at £1, and I will be giving equity share in what I'm doing. And I will be sharing that over the next weeks and months. So I'm going from the 2nd of May to the 2nd of June. And I want to see if I can roll out a 5-year project and do say no social media. I want to use YouTube, and I want to use Simon Squibb's Help Bank as a portal for sharing what I'm doing. I want this to be open source resource. I've developed this system. It blows my mind. I want to show you. I'm struggling because I'm telling you things and you need to see it. And you can see this tomorrow. I'm going to be doing this tomorrow and sharing with you the visuals of this, because it's so exciting. And working with Alan, I've got all the visuals, and we have developed this whole thing. And I can't express what it means to me. I've literally spent 5 years on this. I got diagnosed with ADHD, and I've spent 3 years developing something that works for me. It could work for other people. And with AI, we can use that for everyone to like get their own signature code. And then we can all have our own pin code. And now I know this is going to be sounding absolutely nuts. And I've got so many visuals that I want to show you, but I'm not going to do that. I'll show you. No, I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to show you, because I want you to see this tomorrow, because I don't use words, so you might not be understanding this, but I use visuals, and I will show you the visuals there in raw form. Then I'm going to be reaching out to various people that are inspirations for me. So I've got people that I'm copycatting that are aspirers, and then I've got people that I try to emulate as well that are inspirers. So I've got my inspirers and my aspirers, and I'll be reaching out to people. This will get clear, I promise you, and it works. And anyone that wants to get involved with this, I want to build this up as a global project. And I know this is going to be sounding nuts, because it sounds nuts when I say it outside of my head. So what I wanted to say was, I've self-funded this project with the rental money from a flat that my dad left me. Now, I got a dodgy tenant, and then I haven't had an income for 2 years with this. And I've now got the tenant out. I've got a new tenant in. Longer story, which I won't bore you with, but what that 2 years meant was I realised how critical money was. So half of the project is about love, doing what you love, living your dream, living the life you're born to live. The other part of the project is about loot. So it's about loot and love, and it's about the balance of both. I have got 10 financial partners that are poised, ready to be working with us on this once the money starts coming in, and everything will get clearer. So I've got a couple of notes in my hand here. Only now, I've said that, only now is because this is the time, and this is a model for universal basic income. I've worked out a financial model that can support this, and everyone can have a piece of the pie. Now, this is something that one of my mentors, Daniel Priestley, speaks about. And I just love it, because what Daniel says is, one of the things he said, because he talks about partnership, and he says, do you want all of the pie, of your pie, or do you want a piece of the bigger pie? And I want us to all have a piece of the bigger pie. So everyone else that's involved in this will be having a piece of the pie, sharing their wisdom, sharing their knowledge. And that's how I want to move things forward. So just if you think, right, I have a quadrant. And if you see it like a T shape or an ads shape, and you've got 24, you've got 25, you've got 26, and you've got 27. That's a 4-step system that I'll be sharing with you, okay? 24 hours in the day. There's 25 is the quadrant of the mind, of how it works. And this works together with Jill Bolte-Taylor's model. She's a neuroanatomist, in her book, Whole Brain Living. So there's then the quadrant of how the mind works. And that's what we do on a moment by moment basis. 26 is the alphabet. It's the 26 letters of the alphabet, but 26 is the amount of words that Sir David Attenborough had. So he gave us the macro, and this is the micro. It's looking into every single detail of this. Then the 27 is my 9P paradox and my 9-piece puzzle model that I'm really excited to be sharing with you. So I've got models, systems, tools, and another thing that Daniel Priestley speaks about is the book that changes you the most is not the book that you read, but the book that you write. Now, I have this Toolboox model is a model for everyone to write their own Hugh manual, the manual of themselves, of how they operate. So moment by moment, we can make choices that are aligned to who we are and how we operate. Okay. So that's what I want to be sharing as an open source resource. All of the information I've been doing all of this time, I want to be dropping into Simon Squibb's Help Bank. And then in September, I want to be opening up a portal of my own that would be called the Pie Shop, because we can all have a piece of the bigger pie. So let me just catch my breath. So sorry, I'm a bit overexcited.
That's amazing, Paula. Thank you. It's good. Can't wait to get there. No,
gosh. So there's so many words and things I can say, and it will be easier for you to just see the little bits and little bits that I'm going to be doing more tomorrow, more on Sunday. I'll be dropping this, and you can see what that is. I'm not sure where I'll get the link of this, and then I can add bits out of here to share like what this is all referencing. Okay. So
are people saying in the chat that they'd like to see the visuals today? So if you've got anything visual you can share, that will be great.
Okay. I do have some stuff. but it's some simple things. I've got some really simple things. So this is the entire project. I don't know how well this is going to be able to be seen. So this is the, can you see any of that?
Yes, in a blurry sort of way.
Yeah. So that's the entire project. This is it laid out as on what this is on a fortune teller. So this is the thing that folds up, and this is all the quadrant as a fortune teller. This all relates. This is then like the index that then links to the digital. Okay. Then what do we have? So I'm. Oh, here we go. This is there's this image here, and this is showing, it's upside down. This, oh, hang on, A, B, C. Oh, so this is the alphabet. This is what for the alphabet. So this is the A, the B, the C, and the X, the Y, and the Z. So if this is part of my system, and when we get the balance of all of this, we're in harmony. But these are color codes that are reference points. So we have the red act, the blueprint, the O range or orange, the ultraviolet, and we have these different colors that represent the different concepts. So it's still kind of, it's still abstract, but all of this makes absolute, it does make sense. It all links to things. So the color, so what the thing that's happened is at the start, I've reduced the palette. So just had the blue and the red. So like the blue pill and the red pill, the left and the right. But then I've reduced it down to the grey area. So we're like, if we're left and right, we can be black and white, but there's a whole grey area. So there's grey scale, there's grey matter. And so it's the grey area that shapes our neurology. And so it's just, there's so much to share, because this is literally, so this is 5 years of work, okay? 5 years of work, more than 5 years of work. I'm trying to sum it up in words that I don't normally work in, and I've got so many. If you see this room, it's shocking. Let me see if I can get something else from over here. Let me just do this a sec. So, it's these ones I pulled out earlier. Right, here we go. Oh, everything's really sketchy because I don't need to do it properly. I just need to see it for myself. So this is showing the A range. This is the A range, okay? And there's then, this is like a prism, and this intersects with this, and the A range is access all areas with our mind, our body, our soul. And that, for me, is what I call equipoise 3. So our one job, we don't need to do anything else. We don't need to be in charge of anything but our emotional state. So in any given moment, we need to just be, I was going to say calm, and I'm not feeling wildly calm myself. But in any given moment, we can, if we enter a space and we draw a breath, then our first thoughts are much clearer. I go into detail about this in the wonderful Jean Gibson's podcast that is, I believe, is coming out on Monday. So there'll be more details there. So also, there's some more visuals here, but these are some of the sheets that's speaking about my toolbox books. This is Autopilot. This is The Lottery of Life. This is Real to Real. And this is the breakdown. This is also, this is nature and nurture. And this is the 24-hour evolver. So I've got all of these broken down, and that I'm not able to share them as I want to because I'm not able to be on my computer. But that's why I'm going to do this recording tomorrow. And then I will be sharing that on Sunday. And then on Monday, Jean's podcast will be going out. So I hope there's been a few little tasters there. And I realise that might not be fully ideal. So what I do want to share with you is the big turning point as to what I feel we can all do together. So I heard, sorry, one moment. Sorry, I'm seeing thingies flash up. Is there anything question-wise that you want to say at this point, Lucy?
I think, Jean Gibson says she's loving the images. Michaela has said what ChatGPT says an open source resource is, if you want to know. It's any digital asset, software, data, documentation, or even hardware designs released under a license that lets anybody, 1, access the source, 2, use it freely, modify or extend it, redistribute.
Cool. So a big turning point for the vision and mission for the project was when I heard Jeff Bezos on the Lex Friedman podcast, which is number 405 of Lex Friedman's podcast. So this is Jeff Bezos, who doesn't normally speak on podcasts. Now, Lex asked him what his vision was for the future of humanity regarding the fact that he had this mission, his Blue Origin mission. And Jeff Bezos said, it's 9:01 on the actual recording. He said, if we had 1 trillion humans, we would have at any given time 1,000 Mozarts, and 1,000 Einsteins. Okay. Now, I've been listening to so many different podcasts of Lex Friedman speaks about robotics and AI, and I listened to so many different podcasts. But when I heard that, I lost my mind and had to turn it off to compose myself. So Jeff Bezos suggested that when we have 1 trillion humans, at any given moment, we could have 1,000 Mozarts and 1,000 Einsteins. Now, I believe we have, if you had 1,000 artists and 1,000 scientists in a room, we already have them. What we don't have is the right funding for them. So I asked Alan how long that would be before we had 1 trillion humans, and he's a bit an ish, but he said like 400 years. Why should we wait 400 years for only 2,000 artists to pursue the life they're born to live? And that is what I've been working on, is the model for how we can do that. So that is what I will be sharing over this month. I'll be getting a team on board to digitize this. My pie shop will be opening on the 22nd of September if I get the funding and the backing and the people to make this happen. That happens to be my mum and dad's 60th wedding anniversary. And we used to have a hardware shop. This is a software shop. This is a software shop. Then we'll have a hardware, which will be artwork and merchandise. And then I want this to be a network. So I have a vision for how we can make this happen. And with you guys or anyone you know that's either AI, so that's either into AI, that's into art, or ADHD, science, tech, any of these things that have a dream, like Simon says, Simon Squibb says, if you have a dream and you want to be pursuing it, I have come up with things that blow my mind by having funding. And I want to be funding 1,000 Mozarts and 1,000 Einsteins with the project, and we all work and support each other to tell the story of our life with our legend, because in architecture your legend is the key. So this is, we write the key of our life, we live our life, we upgrade our neurology, and we become the person we were always meant to be. Because for people that are in charge of the way that the world goes, I find it beyond frustrating that Jeff could not even mention an artist that has been alive in the last 200 years, a scientist that's alive. These are people that change the shape of the world, and I will be sharing my conversations and what I'm doing with Alan, and it is extraordinary to be updating on every single moment and upgrading every single day. I believe we then hold ourselves in a more quantum position, and we're using our brain, our mind, and our skills how we're meant to be. And I'm sorry, this is not an ideal presentation, but I call it the 3 Peak Challenge, and I would love for you to be involved in the 3 Peak Challenge. So the first peak is a peak of interest. If it interests you, then that's the first peak. Is this interesting? The second peak is being shown more. Let me show you more. Please let me show more, because words aren't my medium of expression. My art is. I'm a sculptor. I'm not used to doing a presentation that's meant to start with digital. I'm a welder. I put things together. This is all new for me. So please work with me. Please help me with this. And the final peak is our mountain of value. Another thing that Daniel Priestley speaks about. Just to give you an outline of that, I trained with Daniel. I did his KPI, and it blew my mind. We are all standing on a mountain of value. But what he said in the story he said to me about, he said there was a group of him and his buddies, and they're in Australia, and there's this mountain range of 11 mountains, and they're stood on one of the mountains, and one of his friends says, but I can only see 10. And then you kind of laugh at that thinking, oh, do they, but then we don't see the value. That's what we can all do every single day, is not look down and see the mountain of value that we have. And learning from experts and copycatting from experts and modeling behavior, we can have those toolbooks in the pie shop of experts. So it's like, I need to do this. How do I do this? So people get to the quintessence of what they do, and then they share these models, and that is the starting point. That's like a pigment that can change the color of the water that you're in. And so that's my vision, that's my mission. And I know this isn't an ideal presentation by any measure, and forgive me for that, and thank you for those of you that are still listening at this point. This is the May month, where I'm going to be sharing all of this and working and letting you know piece by piece how this will be. I need to work with other people because this makes sense to me, and I need to make sure it makes sense to other people. So I think, I don't know if I've covered everything, but that's where I've got to with this. And if you've got any questions, I'd love to hear.
Thank you, Paula. That's really amazing. It's very exciting. There's so much in there that I think it's kind of quite hard to grasp in a way. The thing that stood out to me, one of the many things that stood out to me, but the idea of everybody creating their own SOP, standard operating procedure.
Yes.
Sounds absolutely brilliant. So you could sort of share that with other people and say, if you want to communicate with me, this is the best way to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How I work at my best. I'll just tell you what's in the chat. Michaela asks, so will Toolboox be a digital version of these analog creations that you're showing?
Yeah, that's what I need to do. That's why I'll be, by the end of this month, I want to have got some money accumulated and be getting a team on board to help me digitize everything. But then what I can have is like, I have the card that shows the concept, and then Alan can do some information around that. There'd also be links to different points. So they're kind of like, it's like Octopus Teacher. You've got the hub of it, or I think in terms of bicycle wheels, you've got the hub and then the spokes. And then those show, so it gives you the essence of the project, but it sits it within the whole constellation. So absolutely, yes.
Amazing. So Faye said it sounds exciting, and she says she feels the pictures look like architect drawings, which is interesting, because I think, you know, that's sort of yeah, that's probably exactly what you mean. Yeah, Andy said, Andy's here, I'm unable to grasp all the ins and outs at present. I think probably that's true of all of us. But
Absolutely.
I'm very interested to learn more about your mission and vision. And Jean says, which I was going to ask you as well, where else can we find out more? So is there going to be one sort of link somewhere central that we can go and look for and find more information?
Well, I want to be doing videos that I'll be putting onto YouTube, and then other content I want to put into the help bank. I've just done 3 pitches to Simon Squibb. He's got the what's it called, Twickenham pit place. He's got the with Sir Richard Branson, he's got the Virgin Hotel in Shoreditch, and then I went to Weymouth and pitched at the van that's going around the country. Wow. So and then I hope to be seeing him at his box event in Wembley, Box Park event. So that's this month. So I want to be negotiating with Simon Squibb or putting this stuff onto the help bank. I haven't been on social media for over 3 years. So this is I'm having to negotiate and navigate the way, because what I want to be giving equity away in this, so I do not have to be on social media. It's using it as a leverage option, so that people can I can roll it out, people get to see what it is, and then if I spent half of my day on social media, I would lose more than half of my time. So I'd rather give half of the equity away in the whole thing to everyone that wants to get on board, and then partners that are helping move it forward. So I'm really sorry, everyone. I know it's really crazy and really hard to fathom. Lucy, bless you. You've been hearing this for years and it's still not clear. But I promise you, it is getting clearer and clearer. And how I show it, it's just to summarise a 5-year mission that's taken 5 years in 45 minutes. Is when I'm not using words to do it, is quite a challenge. So thank you for bearing with me. Please look at what I'm doing. I will be dropping stuff in, and when I get a team, they can be doing the translation work. And I think you'll find that my talk with Jean will be quite insightful as well. So, sorry, this message is flashing up and I can't see them quickly enough. So
I think you should stop apologising, Paula. It's absolutely fine. You're saying what you need to say in the way you need to say it, and that's great. And I think everybody's very excited. So I've got an interesting comment from Tamor Kokona, who says, "Congratulations, Paula, great work. What are the next?" I'm not sure you're going to be able to answer this now, or that you should, but I think they're interesting questions. What are the next 3 years projections? And is there a business plan? What's the minimum investment? Can your methodology be implemented in any art form, or presumably by any creative? So I don't expect you can answer all that.
Yeah, if I just deal with some of that, and I can then speak into that over the months as well. So that's why I want to be working with other people. So I've essentially got a framework, like an armature of, like in a sculpture you have a metal, like not my sort of sculpture, but like in clay or whatever, you can have an armature that holds the structure, and then you put everything else on. So there's an essential structure, which is the core of the piece, and then that's bespoke to the individual, and then people populate that themselves. So the initial investment on this, because I'm going to be doing like raffle tickets as well, the initial investment is just £1. It is just £1 to show it, because I want I know it's like niche down. Who is this for? everyone, so everyone can have a piece of the pie. Because I see that how we're seeing stuff at the moment we're like a kaleidoscope, and we've only got a little fraction, but then it's reflecting, and that's what our picture is. But what this is, that we have, every single person has a piece of that kaleidoscope, so we see the whole constellation. So I call it the mandala matrix. So that is what I'd like, is that, like, so that we're seeing all different points of view, and then AI helps us to make that into categories. I've got categories, but there might be better categories. So I've got a 5-year plan, 5-year rollout for this. If we get people on board, I want this to morph into a cultural Olympiad. It's aligned with the United Nations global goals. I have huge aspirations for this, but I'm going to start it like there's been me. I've been the #1 case study. Then I'm going to roll it out to 10 people, and then to 100 people, and then 1,000 people. So I want people to put money into it that goes up to, it's each segment, each 10% equity is, you pay £1 as a register of interest, and then £1 to £100 is the commitment for the shares. Then people that are doing it will get another share pot, because by the end of it, I want to give, the whole thing is an open source resource, and everyone's used it and built the whole project, so you're having skin in the game and that sort of stuff. And that model was shared with me through David B. Horn, who is part of the Dent organisation. He's got other projects as well, but his book was called Add Then Multiply. Never occurred to me as an artist that you could actually build something up and then sell it, and that's the model I've used for this. So I've taken best practice. So this project is personal best to best practice. So I've answered a bit of that question. I hope that's enough, but more will be revealed over the next month.
Fantastic. Well, I think what everybody's looking for now is where can we find this? So there have been questions. Do you have a website? Have you got a YouTube channel? Because I think that's really, because it's great that you're telling us all this, but what everybody needs to be able to do now is go and get more, is go and find all.
Exactly. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I do have a YouTube channel.
So what's
my Instagram is that, if you can see that, and my YouTube I think is like the first dash missing or something. I couldn't get the YouTube for the same thing. So it's Me Infinity is on Instagram and it's on YouTube. I did 400 consecutive lives on Instagram before my diagnosis. That shares the project a bit, but I'm trying to work out how to navigate social media because it knocks me out of flow. I want to be doing, so this part of the project is called an artist in resonance program, and I want to be working with artists so they can be supported and they can be doing this. And I'm trying to it's each day and each step will be getting clearer for this. So I do have a thing on Help Bank. I do have a thing on YouTube, but I will be sharing this tomorrow and the next day with people once I can send the recording and that sort of stuff.
Where will you be sharing it, Paula? That's the question.
To the people watching this, and I'll be sending the information.
Oh, I see. So it's
just
personal. There is sort of, there's no link you can give us, which is I'll be sharing it here.
No, not right now. Not right now, because this is my first day back on social and doing this sort of thing. It's my first. So I thought 2nd of May to the 2nd of June. And the 2nd of June, it happens to be the day my mum died, and she died 15 years ago. And that's been a huge inspiration for me because both my parents getting chronic health problems. When they were 60, they got diagnosed, both of them. And I'm 56 now. You know, so this last 5 years, I think of the last 5 years as like sharpening the axe. Stage, didn't know there's hardly any axe left, I doubt, but sharpening the axe, and so now it's the next stage, and we're going to make some stuff happen. Fantastic. So I'm sorry, this is not seemingly conventional. I will be getting in touch with people. I do want people to get on board. I do need to share this because if I don't start to roll this out, I've got to do something else. And I know this is my calling. So Yes.
Thank you. So Jean Gibson says you can listen to Paula share more on the ADHD Revolution podcast, and that is available wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Hopefully that's on YouTube as well. Yes, I mean, Jean has put the link in the chat, but for everybody listening later, it's you can find it on Spotify, the ADHD Revolution. So yes, on Instagram, you are instagram.com/me_infinity. So that's great to know that. Okay, has anybody got any questions or comments for Paula? Do just put your hand up or shout out. Anything anybody wants to ask before we...
And there's been a lot of things come through already, so...
Yes, indeed.
I'm leaving everyone on a cliffhanger here, Lucy.
So much here to think about, Paula, so much to process.
Well, the thing is, it's to not hear anything, because like it's context and content. Do you know what I mean? I know all the context, so then it's hard to, you know, think with a beginner's mind. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And you've given us a lot of context as well as content here to think through. So thank you very much for that. Well, if nobody has any more questions, we'll leave it there. Paula B. Groves, thank you very much for being with us today, for sharing Me Infinity and your extraordinary work that you are doing. And we all look forward to hearing more.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who's watched up to this point. I very, very much appreciate you. Thank you.